Just so you know, your mics are not working.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. This is our first time using Zoom, so. All right, so we have 4 cases. We have a couple that we just have to deal with before we jump to your case. So, application Z 2023-32, J Rook Property Group. This is for the 326 Bishop Hollow Road, Newtown Square. The applicant is seeking variance relief from 172-33B subsection 1 and 172-33B subsection 6. They're requesting a extension of prior zoning relief. So I guess we just have, what are we looking to extend, 6 months or?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we did receive a letter dated December 3rd from counsel, Ernie Angelos, with regard to this application. This is a matter that was decided by the board. We entered a decision back in, I believe it was in January of 2024. They have received 1 extension previously. This is a second extension, and the extension would be through July 17th, 2025.
All right.
With that, I would ask that the December 3rd, 2024 letter be made part of the record with regard to the request for the extension.
All right, submitted. I'll make a motion to approve the 6-month extension for applications Z 2023-32. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Carries. Next up is application Z 2024-25. Kevin Murphy, 366 Radford Court in Glen Mills. This is for the subject property at 307 First Avenue. They're also requesting extension. Is this until the January meeting?
Yes, we received a letter dated December 18th from counsel James Byrne, indicating that he's representing the applicant. However, as a result of an illness, he's unable to attend tonight and has requested that the hearing be moved to the January list.
Okay.
I don't know how many cases we have on January, but I assume Heather and Andy will figure that out, but they're requesting January.
They don't care. They just throw them at us. So,
The January 16th.
all right. So I will make a motion to continue applications Z 2024-25 to the January 16th of 2025 meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Extended. Next is application Z 2024-32. Mark A. Gilbert and David V. Gilbert, 3081 West Chester Pike, Newtown Square. This is pertaining to this subject property at 4224 West Chester Pike. They are also requesting a continuance for the January 16th, 2025 meeting. So we'll move that to January 16th as well. I'll make a motion to approve the continuance, well, to January 16th. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All right, motion carries. All right. And next is application Z 2024-21, Brian Mace of 4108 Battles Lane. The applicant seeking relief from sections 172-100.15, subsection 2D and F and 3D to allow for a pool to be built on the property that is in excess of allowable impervious coverage within the floodplain management areas. The applicant also requests relief from any other section of the zoning ordinance that may be realized during the zoning hearing process. Subject premises located in the R1 district. This application is continued from our September meeting. And who do we have here on behalf of this application? You're Brian? Why don't you guys all step up and turn the microphones on? Get I guess we should get everybody. That's fine.
Mr.
Turn that on.
Before we begin with testimony, I think based on the application that I reviewed, I think the applicant is also seeking some relief from our ordinance with regard to impervious surface coverage. Is that accurate? Okay, so I think we have to, I don't think that was indicated in your opening.
Got
And
it.
I think that there's a request therefore for a variance from section 172-29B4, which provides that impervious surface coverage be no more than 25%. I think the application is for a greater distance, greater depth than that. Is that right?
All right. All right, so we'll add in 172-29, you said, B4?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get these guys sworn in. Yeah, just turn those microphones on so it lights up green, and then just shut it down on the table. Turn it.
Yes. Brian Mace.
Harry Halliburton, the
All right, and is the file in order?
Yes, to my best of my knowledge, Mr. Chairman, we had a prior hearing on September 19th in this matter. It's been continued, but at that time, we did not offer any of our documents into evidence, and I would like to do that at this point in time. The application and accompanying documents and exhibits be marked as Township Exhibit number 1, that the prior listing of residents within 200 feet of the subject property were notified of the original night's meeting, be marked as Exhibit Township number 2. Proofs of publication and the Daily Times, 2 consecutive weeks based on the prior September date, would be Township Exhibit number 3. And pictures of posting the property that were presented previously be marked Township Exhibit number 4. There are some additional exhibits I'd like to enter based on information that's been provided in the file. We have the Township Engineer's initial review letter dated August 2nd, 2024. I asked that be marked as Township Exhibit number 5. The applicant's engineer's site engineering concepts response, which I'm sure we'll hear from tonight. The response is dated 11/21/24. Be marked Exhibit Township Exhibit number 6. And the Township Engineer's follow-up review and comments of 12/10/2024 be marked as Exhibit T7.
All right, they are admitted.
You have some exhibits? Well, why don't you just present them or mark them as you go through?
Yeah, come on, pass them out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're all set, so it's all yours to present.
Starter, I can give a property summary. That would be helpful. Okay. Go over to that board. Would you like me to bring
Yeah,
this?
that's fine. Yeah, bring that with you then.
Good evening, everyone. Stated, my name is Harry Halliburton, licensed professional engineer from the state of Pennsylvania. I'm here representing Brian Mace. So looking at our plan, we can see the existing structure, which is a 2-story brick dwelling. This plan can be seen in the center of the plan as a light brown shade. Moving plan south from this, we can see some light tan shading. This light tan shading is the proposed patio for the proposed pool. Moving under that shading, we see light blue shading. That is the proposed pool surface. In the existing condition, the home has a 25.9% maximum impervious coverage. And in the proposed condition, we are going up to a 30.1% impervious coverage. Looking at the plan, we can see 2 lines going across the home. The first is a blue line marked FP. This is the floodplain as brought in from the FEMA Zone AE and overlaid. As well as that, we can see a pink line. This is the floodplain as adjusted based on our topographical survey of the site using the Zone AE cross sections. Moving forward, we can see that the existing lot area has approximately 52.8% of the area reduced from the overall lot area due to 75% of any property area within the floodplain conservation district being taken out of the overall lot area. Please note that if this overall lot area were to be included in the total lot area and used for the proposed impervious coverage as proposed on this plan, we would have a total impervious coverage of 14.2%, putting us 10.8% below the 25% zoning limit. So as stated, our first variance we're going for is a variance from the impervious coverage. As stated, if we had the maximum lot area, we would only have a 14.2% maximum impervious coverage. The other variances we are going for is for the construction of a proposed pool in the floodplain. We have done engineering due diligence and examined the floodplain to calculate the exact volume of the floodplain. We've also looked at the proposed condition to look at the floodplain and the effect our proposed improvements in grading will have on it. This data led us to find out that we'll actually be removing fill from the floodplain, so we'll be cutting or increasing the volume of the floodplain. Due to this, there'll be no effect on the floodplain base flood elevation moving forwards. This has been reviewed, confirmed, and accepted by the township engineer as a valid study. Moving forward, we also have some exhibits. Exhibit A1, we'll start with. Exhibit A1 is an aerial image of the property with 4108 Battles Lane shown with a pin in the center of the image. As can be seen, there are many pools and backyards in the surrounding area, and it is characteristic. Moving on to Exhibit A2. You can see the plan that was just presented and spoke about. Moving on to Exhibit A3, we can see the FEMA floodplain study that was incorporated and overlaid. Again, these are the blue lines that can be seen on Exhibit A2. The pink lines are, again, the adjusted floodplain based on our topographical survey of the existing elevation. Exhibit A4 is our floodplain narrative that was reviewed, confirmed, and accepted by the township engineer. In this narrative, on page 3, you can see our cut and fill analysis that was completed. Page 4 has proposed cut and fill. So to clarify, the first cut and fill report is the volume of the floodplain. The second cut and fill report is the volume of the floodplain after our proposed improvements. And the last page is our FEMA exhibit and our plan. Finally, Exhibit A5 is my CV. Please let me know of any questions.
This was all, I guess, the research that had to be done from our last meeting that.
Yeah, last meeting you said, get my engineer to work with your engineer, go through all the details. The biggest concern that they had was around, impacting the floodplain itself. And so the idea here is that the analysis that they did was we cannot raise the mean elevation greater than a foot. And we've been able to show that the plans will not do that. We also can't add any fill or additional dirt to the floodplain. As they said, we're actually taking dirt out of the floodplain, so increasing the volume. And so really the ultimate hardship is the fact that the majority of my property sits in that floodplain, which then when you do the impervious calculation puts me above the limits. And so, the piece that I think he mentioned earlier is that, if you take that hardship away, we're well under the township stated percentages.
Do we, I guess, Steve, maybe you would know the answer to this. Has Andy given any feedback on this application? I know he's obviously not here, but.
Yeah, I've talked to both Andy and Eric. I mean, obviously, minor concern that we're going into the floodplain at all, but understanding where the house sits, there's not much alternative if they're going to be granted the variance. That was the biggest concern. And as the applicant has mentioned, Eric has reviewed this. Eric and the engineer have worked out all the issues other than the variance itself. And so they would be ready, the township would be ready to issue the permit if the zoning hearing board were to grant the variance.
Okay. Any contingencies or anything that they want to make sure in any approvals or anything that Andy was concerned about, or the township engineer?
I think the biggest concern would be just that all of the comments to the engineer that the township engineer made would be followed. I mean, they've said they would, and they've made the changes accordingly, and that they would have to build only according to what the plan is.
We have those comments? Or did he make comments?
They should be attached to your, I think there's 2 letters that are attached to the agenda. If I
We
can,
entered them into evidence. That was the August
Yeah.
2nd original letter, the applicant's engineer's response. And then the most recent letter from our engineer is dated just recently.
1210.
12/10. And I did have some communication as well. I don't know if the applicant's been made aware. There's certain conditions that the engineer has suggested. Have you been advised of those potential conditions? Let me see if I have that. Recommendation by Mr. Johnson, the township engineer. He's recommending language to be included in light of our ordinance section 172-100.17E, requesting that the zoning board shall notify the applicant in writing that the issuance of a decision to allow construction of a structure below the base flood level elevation will result in increased premium rates for flood insurance, and such construction below the base flood elevation increases the risk of life and property. And that, if the board should favor your application, that would probably be a condition. He also is requiring compliance with the conditions of 172-100.18, which are the conditions for approval of variances. Would you agree to comply? And finally, he is suggesting that we require submission of an as-built plans and certification from the applicant's engineer that the improvements have been constructed in accordance with the approved plans.
Yeah.
Prepared to provide that as well. And whatever other conditions might be relevant based on the board's recommendations, should they vote favorably. So that's yet to be formulated.
I was gonna ask that, yeah. Can you clarify the, I guess the impervious calculation? I saw a couple different numbers. So A2 says 30.1. The petition says 28.7. I think you might have seen, yeah, you might have saw another number. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have a position. One of those 3.
But the engineer says 27.6. Our engineer says 27.6.
For a 27.6%.
Well, that's what our engineer says you have. And that's what he's saying, or he's making his okay or his recommendations at that number, and you're saying that number is not right. So you're in conflict with what our engineers are saying.
Is there a copy of exhibit R7?
I think it was part of the engineer's letter, I believe.
Yeah.
What date is that letter?
This is dated December 10th, 2024. I was not aware that the township engineer has said that we were proposing to increase the total site impervious coverage to 27.6%. Submitted plan and sealed plan has 30.1% on it.
I guess his recommendation is 27.6.
We're going for a variance for 30.1% impervious coverage.
How adverse you at 27.6?
As long as it doesn't stop my client from constructing what he had originally proposed and we are coming for the variance.
That's not the question.
I'll oppose to 27.
He's asking what that does to have to cut down to get to 27%, since that's what they're showing. But do we also want to verify that there just wasn't a miscalculation on their side, or like, is that not being worded saying that our recommendation is not to exceed that? That just seems like it's being written out as what they came up with. So I'm just saying, it doesn't seem like they're saying, hey, don't go over 27.6 is their number.
Well, as I understand the letter from the site engineering concepts dated November 21st is, it says the applicant is proposing to increase the total site impervious coverage to 27.6, which exceeds the allowable maximum impervious coverage limit of 25. So I'm under the impression that was your recommendation, your request,
It was not my request.
not?
Has anything changed?
Did the plan change?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not change, but I'm trying to look back if that was the original permit application that was submitted by
That
contractor.
permit is 28.7. There's three different numbers is what we're trying to reconcile.
The variance we would like to target is a 30.1% proposed maximum impervious coverage.
I think the concern is we're saying that the numbers that went to our engineer was saying 27, that they're basing that off of that
And the
number.
plans that were reviewed and all the contingencies are based off of.
The question is,
numbers.
why did it, what happened from the application till tonight that created the increase? Is there more walkway, more deck space?
I'm not aware. I need to see the plan that was submitted with the original application. But that number is big.
Right, I know, as far as I know. there was a plan.
That original plan was yours?
No, it is not.
We have the contractor that submitted the application to the zoning board. The letter from the November 21st. Andrew Malmstrom. Who's that?
That is
Okay,
not a P. You can't talk.
then you designed the new plans.
I did not. Robert Lambert designed the new plans. He's at another hearing. I'm sitting in for him.
Okay. We don't know where the number of 30.
So I know where 30.1% came from. I do not know where 27.6 or 28.
Where did the 30% number come from?
30.1% is the total proposed impervious coverage based on these footprints.
Based on that design,
That footprint, yes,
and that's what was submitted?
yes, as far as I'm aware.
Yes.
Can you show us in the chart on the plan
Of course.
where that shows?
It's in the impervious coverage summary, isn't it?
So looking at exhibit A2. In the plan, southeast corner of exhibit A2. Impervious coverage summary. In the impervious coverage summary, there are 3 rows on top. Bottom row can be discounted. First of that, total building coverage.
Can you please make sure you're holding the mic?
I'm sorry, sir. Total building coverage is set at 2,468 square feet, 8.4%. Below that, we have the total site impervious coverage in the existing condition, which is 7,642 square feet, 25.9%. Proposing to remove 82 square feet, bringing our proposed add to 1,313 square feet. Moving in, it's a total of 8,873 square feet, or 31.1%.
It's 30.1%. Am I looking at the wrong number?
That's what I've been stating. 31%.
Yeah, he's saying 30.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So,
Well, I'm a little confused because I have a plan here that shows the boundary and topographical survey plan that suggests the total site impervious coverage is 25.93%.
Another
That's
number?
current coverage, sir.
Current.
That your plan?
So this is the.
Oh, that's the existing. Okay. But this plan doesn't show the increase.
And the maximum for this is 25, so currently you're already over.
It's not. Again, taking the lot area, hardship here in your case. Proposed impervious coverage. 14.2%.
Can you explain that again to me? I'm not.
That doesn't work because that's not what you have.
Mhm.
You can't build in a floodplain. I mean, that's kind of. I mean, that's.
I just want to understand the
Common.
Proposing a variance.
microphone, sorry. I see the numbers on the chart, but then the 14% what if calculation is where I'm losing you.
So the 14.2% is a percentage of the gross lot area of the proposed impervious coverage. And that gross lot area has been removed due to the floodplain area. 75% of that floodplain area is removed from the total lot area, reducing our total lot size by 52.8%. So again, if you were to look at the total lot area or the gross lot area and use this composition, that would give you 14.2%.
It's your lot, what we're talking about, but we can't take into account an area of that because of the floodplain. Is
All
that
the area within the
basically?
floodplain.
Yes.
If I didn't have the floodplain.
Yeah.
I'd be under.
Yeah,
So I'm asking-
you wouldn't even be here, yeah.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be here. But because of the floodplain.
Please make sure you're using the mic.
Apologies.
No problem.
So to restate that, I said. My lot in itself, the 1.5 acres, under the current conditions, if I didn't have the floodplain, I wouldn't be seeking a variance.
Right.
Floodplain eliminates 75% of the applicable area of my lot, which then puts me over that amount.
Okay.
If that, I wouldn't even be able to build my house today based under the current rules.
Got it. Sam, why don't we step into the back and just do a quick session so we can talk too.
Do you know where the miscalculation could come from? Or the confusion?
As a non-professional engineer. do you
Does
know?
anyone know? I mean, that's a. Do you have any idea where it could have gone?
We're not taking it into account, we're just asking.
No, so.
Well, if you're going to if you're going to testify, you have to be sworn.
Sorry, I asked.
Yeah. it's-
I helped prepare these plans. This is the same improvements that was back in November with the original application. The only, I think, coming from the letter, there must have been a typo by my part in the response. The only impervious percentage.
Please raise the mic up.
Is it even
Is it
on?
on?
Hello?
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
The only impervious percentage that's ever been proposed was the 30.1% on all of our plans that were
Okay.
prepared.
Well, I think I have a plan here that was reviewed by the zoning officer, and that plan that he marked up and noted, the I think 27% figure. Let me pull it up again. Yeah.
This plan you're talking about?
It was the one Andy had marked up originally, and
So in the bottom right corner of this plan, we can see our impervious coverage summary. This is an impervious coverage summary of the existing lot area. So again, this number 25.9% is reflected here on our plans. in the
no,
bottom right
I'm
corner.
sorry, I saw another one that he had marked out that was at 27 or 28. Just want to, I put my hands on it very quickly. Just look at that. Hmm. So this one shows 27.6% total site impervious surface. This is the one that was utilized by our zoning officer in his review. Yep.
So I believe. Right. I believe this is the one that was prepared by the contractor originally for the original review.
Sort of appears like it's a moving target. That's,
Of course, and so this one was not prepared by our office, I believe.
but
this was
that's what was submitted and reviewed by our zoning officer.
with the original grading permit application that was completed by the
Okay.
contractor.
Well, we're not going crazy here.
No, not going crazy. I believe this was just a miscalculation on the contractor's part. I can't verify or deny their calculation, but I know.
And then the application had a figure of 28.7.
Yes.
Has our zoning officer approved or reviewed those plans?
To my knowledge, he has, but the only interaction we've had is with the township engineer, Eric Johnson.
Well, is there a way that you can mitigate back down toward the lower number from the 31?
The variance we're requesting is the 31%. We would like to continue to pursue 30.1%.
You gotta find a way to meet us somewhere. You keep saying that when we ask the question. And all we're trying to say here is you guys there's three different numbers. We're asking you, don't give that response again. Just find it somewhere. Like, that's all we're saying. You keep saying we're going for 30.1. All we're saying is you have three different numbers right now that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Let's get to something that puts us within reason that we're asking you to work with us here on.
We know what the
Obviously,
square
we're
foot
looking to get you to a
difference
point of approval.
I'll get it.
2% of the.
Yeah, I guess we're looking for about 2.5%. I mean, that's
2.5%.
the number that we're kind of looking for some kind of a compromise. You know, our job is to give you relief if we can, but the minimum relief that you need, not necessarily all you want, nor do we want none of it. We just need you to, something that's palatable for us, giving you some kind of.
Listen, I obviously, I know, I differ from some of that too, but if you can find some way to chop something to work with us here. Let us know what that is.
Will do, sir.
Take a stepping stone out or something.
Yeah, no, I'm, if I gotta take off part of my driveway, whatever it takes, I just gotta figure out what that square footage is. 'Cause
Yeah.
if it's,
But do you want to take a break and
Yeah,
allow them
let's
to do that?
We're gonna go back, talk, you guys look at
Okay.
some stuff too, all right? All right, so after our executive session, we are going to continue applications E 2024-21 for 4108 Battles Lane, just while we gather some additional information and confirm that we're all working off of the same site plan. So I guess, do we have to make a motion to continue?
Is
So
the
it's not
applicant
just you
requesting
guys.
a continuance to next month's meeting for purposes of verification, certain information?
Yes.
Then you can entertain a motion to continue it to January's list.
So I will make a motion to continue this applications E 2024-21 to the January 16th meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
See you in January.
Thanks, guys.
I would just suggest somebody make a call to Andy and to Eric and just get on the same plane. Somebody send a letter to the board that says what the, revising your application for whatever the impervious coverage is.
Appreciate it.